Well, today is a day of firsts. I've never owned 5 versions of the exact same designed blade, and this is the first time I've ever seen a cold steel knife made in Italy. We're looking today at the new Cold Steel CPM 3V SRK. Guys, every time I post on social media something about an SRK from Cold Steel, I get so many hits. It's one of the highest thumbed up, commented on posts is anytime I post something about an SRK, and particularly when I threw this up on Instagram. This is a good reason why you guys should follow along on Facebook and Instagram. If you don't already, you can see up and coming stuff, things coming down the line. I can answer questions for you right out of the gate, things like that. So just a quick little teaser or promo for the social media side of things. Yeah, what we have here today is an Italian-made SRK knife with CPM 3V steel. Now, what's really interesting, I want to answer some questions like super fast, right out of the gate. You guys know the SRK if you've been watching this video, watching the channel. If you're watching this, you're probably interested because for me personally, going back to those 5 different blades. I've owned the AUS 8 version that was out there forever. I've owned a Carbon V version. I own the SK5 version. I've owned a VG1 version, and now I own this one. I think that's 5, right? There's another version out there, I'm sure I've owned it. But here's what's really cool. I think that Cold Steel has really got it dialed in with this blade. Not only are you getting super premium 3V steel, not only is it this, to my knowledge, one of the first blades they've ever made in Europe, so that's really cool. Most of them are made in Taiwan. They'll use US made steels and things like that. But what's really different about this, we are looking at a flat grind. So this does not have a hollow grind, or if it is a hollow grind, it's the shallowest thing I've ever seen. It's nowhere near like the other SK5 version that they recently did. Has an extremely tough, nice strong tip. That was one of my critiques with the SK5 version that they recently did with the hollow grind, was that the tip was very thin and could be prone to breakage. This thing is much thicker. The swedge is much thicker, very stout front end of this tool. And then on top of that, what you're getting is that shortened ricasso, which I really like about the design of this newer design. That was one drawback that I always had with the older ones, is that you had that like 1-inch ricasso. So if you're really gonna do any woodscraft, you had to kind of choke up on it, and it was like not a choil but a choil. So this brings it back in, so you have the edge closer to your hand for more manipulation and better control over your blade. Now, it does not have a 90-degree spine as well. So with all of those details, I'll just run through a couple aspects. We'll throw in a couple competitive options. We will run in that the SRK with the SK5 steel, and just talk real fast, just running a bunch of B-roll to help you guys decide if the CPM 3V version of the SRK is something that you want to get if you already own the SRK, or if you haven't, you've been kind of contemplating which one should I get. Is this the right design and features to throw in your collection and throw in your rotation? Let's go ahead and take a quick look. So this is mostly just going to be some fun here, folks, because this is just such a well-known knife. I hope that what we discuss, the footage particularly that I'm just going to be rolling in, just get you excited. If you already currently own an SRK, just get back out there and use your knife again. If you don't own an SRK, just help you not only see what this knife can do, but why it's just such an iconic blade in the knife community as a whole, and really its capability. So with bringing that ricasso in, that I believe, as I said earlier, gives you more control over the tool. Cold Steel with that flat grind, it's about 0.19 on the thickness. It's a very stout blade, definitely, you know, of a shorter from edge to spine length with that flat grind. So, you know, it's not like something you're going to go do a ton of bushcraft tasks with, you know, making a bowl and a spoon and a fork, and then, you know, you're going to spend hours doing that. That's what something like a Cold Steel Fin Hawk or a Mora, you know, heavy duty companion is better suited for those type of tasks. But this is suited for a lot of different tasks, regardless, as a soldier knife, military, law enforcement, search and rescue, SRK, you know, obviously giving it that name, or just general utility, you know, a good camp knife, a really, really good camp knife. And now with the CPM 3V, I mean, it's just mind-boggling. I love that steel because it's so not only rust resistant, even if it shows some staining with rust, you can easily wipe it off. It doesn't pit in and start to damage the steel. From multiple tests I've done over the many years from all sorts of different types of 3V steel. as well as it's pretty easy to resharpen the field for being a super steel. I would way rather have 3V steel than like M390 or some of those other higher end steels out there, because it's very easy, from what I've found, to put a fine edge back on the tool, particularly when you're out in the field. Now, it's not going to be like 1095 or the SK5 version. Those are much easier, but it is doable, and it's not going to take you an hour to put a good edge back on the blade. All right, so we'll talk competitive options in the other SRK version that I have, which is the SK5 steel version. And we'll talk price, and I got some competitive options that we're gonna run in here. Now, the 3V version, I paid over at GP Knives, I believe 148, 149, so for 150 bucks basically. We'll have links for you, GP Knives, Blade HQ, Amazon. We appreciate when you guys use the hyperlinks that we offer to you guys below. It really means a lot to us. And including all the other ones that are not only to Blade stuff, just for all your gear purchasing decisions. We really appreciate it when you use those links. So for 150 bucks, I mean, we'll talk about it with some competitive options. You're getting a really well-made and really high material knife. Now, this SK5 version is about $35 to $40 right now, from everything I've been seeing. So, I mean, that's a phenomenal deal for the knife that you're getting. Now, I actually called Cold Steel and I asked them and confirmed, hey, is this a flat grind on the 3V? They said, yes, it is. And I said, okay, and what about the SK5 version? I know that's hollow grind right now. Are you guys going to keep it hollow grind? Are you know, what are you guys doing? They said, we probably are going to be transitioning back to flat grind. That's what they told me on the phone. I don't know how accurate that is. We will see long term. I think if they just copy the grinding and keeping the short ricasso that is on the 3V version, but take it to a flat grind, that would be perfection. I really like the slicing capability of this currently hollow grind SK5 version, but the tips are really where the difference comes in. Not as strong as the flat grind with the thicker tip that we have on the 3V version. So the tip on the SK5, or on the 3V version, is definitely thicker and stronger and more prone to heavy use, whereas on the currently hollow ground version of the SK5, it will pierce really well and it's very precise, but it could, with hard cranking side to side, possibly cause damage and possibly break in some way, shape, or form. So, and believe that they will migrate back to a flat grind with the shorter ricasso would be cherry. That'd be perfect, baby. So there you have it there, just to give us some competitive options. You know, for about $70, you can get the steel will Argonaut. I believe this is, yeah, the 800. This is AUS 8 steel. We got a top bottom guard, great full handle, a little bit of a more bird beak on the back. You can see the exposed tang out the back. These are full tang as well. They go down to the lanyard hole, but that just has a little extra out the back. This one does have a 90-degree spine. Slightly different blade shape, but very familiar feeling. Comes with a very similar polymer ambidextrous sheath. So that's a great option if you're looking for stainless steel and you don't want to break the bank. That is a phenomenal blade. The Steel Will Argonaut is a great competitor and kind of in between the budget-friendly SK5 and the premium 3V, or I believe they're still doing a Sami version on the SK5 that's around $100. So this is a good medium if you like the style, but you want something a little bit better or stronger or different than the SK5 version, but don't want to break the bank on the $150. You just don't have quite that much to spend. Another option as well comes from Steel Will, and this is the Dark Angel 900. Now this is, what is this? N690. Made in Italy, so maybe even the same factory, who knows, that the SRK it comes from. This one's going to go for about $120, $130. Higher grind, a little bit different handle construction for sure, 90-degree spine. You are going to get that similar polymer sheath, but it's really set up for righties. It is ambidextrous, but it's more set up for a righty. The N690 steel is a really good steel. I would put it on par with like VG10 from everything that I've used. It's not as good as the 3V steel. It has a very similar traction points. It's a full tang as well. Very similar to the SRK design, but just a little bit of a different profile. This is definitely still more of a piercer than the Dark Angel. This has the potential to slightly be a little bit better out in the woods just because of the higher grind and the 90-degree spine. So there's just options that I'm trying to give you guys there. And then finally, I will run in for us to talk about the S1 from Falkneven. knives, similar in idea, a VG10 convex grind, and I really like that a lot. Of all of these, this would be my favorite, just woods knife, purely woods knife. Like I could do some like bowl carving and, you know, make a spoon and do that type of stuff because of the convex grind that they decided to go with. The things that would be a little bit of a drawback is that it is the most expensive of all of these, coming in at usually like 160 minimum, and then like 170 to 180 if you're going with the leather sheath, which is what you got to do. The polymer sheath that this S1 comes with is junk. I hate it. The sheaths on all these other ones are good. I do not like that. So you're really paying like 180, and it is going to be like the most compact, the lightest, the smallest of all of them, and it has the smallest, kind of thinnest handle of the entire group. Not really as tactical as any of the other ones, not as utilitarian as any of the other ones. The SRK is going to have a larger, thicker, longer handle, which I prefer just because it gives me a bigger, better grip over the knife. So those are just things that I wanted to show you with what is also on the market in very similar size, some price range differences to this now 3V version of the SRK. And if I could boil it all down to these points for you compared to all these other tools, when we look at the 3V version of the SRK, what this version is going to give you is the best steel of all the tools that we're looking at, the toughest, longest edge retention, but still being able to work out in the field, rust resistant, all those things coming together, and the best handle ergonomics of the entire batch. And it's going to also give you the best sheath options of the entire batch. So those things all together make this an amazing, amazing tool compared to what we're looking at. It's kind of like the one-stop shop, giving you the best of all worlds. There are certain aspects of the other tools that may be better than it for certain tasks, but for a one-and-done package, mwah. So I just hope that this is kind of giving you the information you need, the data that you need to make that wise choice. We just appreciate it that you've come over, that you're coming out and enjoying a video with us out here in the woods, that I get to test these out for you guys. Leave comments, ask questions, feel free. And yeah, check out the other video popping up. Subscribe if you're not a current subscriber. Again, Instagram, Facebook, all that jazz. And always remember, stay equipped, stay prepared. See you out there.